All right, hello, welcome. This is Alexander Wales. What are we doing today? We are working on this exclusions doc. Last time was the dibbling exclusion and the clay magic golem one, the sea golems. Dibbling just needs a little bit more work. So I was just like feeling fried toward the end of the stream, which went out and took a hike and thought about what I was doing, which is a D's nuts joke. Okay, let's get to it then. Marbled Mythos, thanks for the subscription. That's my first subscription on Twitch. Uh, and you know what? If it's the last, that's fine. um, I am probably going to do a gaming stream at some point. I have not played Blast Call BBS yet, which is the latest and last Zachtronics game. But those streams will probably be more towards the night. I like to... My general writing schedule is I write around this time until I pick my son up from school, and then I write at night after my son is to bed. But that's also my gaming time. So I will probably do a game stream at some point. I need to figure out what game it's going to be, and ideally it'll be something that I can like glance at a chat for, because I play a ton of video games. Okay. All right, so this is what I was talking about last time. there's a specific line in that talks about like concrete and metaphor. A magical spectra, magical spectra. See, no, I know the word's conceptual. I like the term conceptive, which I think, like, yeah, that's the train. Goes by twice a day, I think, delivering people up and down the shore. All right, fine. Oh yeah, here. Relating to mental perception. Okay. I like it because it's a little bit weird. And I'm a fan of weird words. I started reading Fingersmith by Sarah Waters last night, and I kept running across weird words that I had not heard before, mixed in with like 19th century London cant. Could a dibbler ward against lies or violence? Lies is one of the things I really have tried to avoid um, with the Worth a Candle. I think it's noted within the text that something which outright prevents people from lying is like hugely warping for anything. But here I'm not stuck, but like okay. Technically, this term here, ward, it feels a little bit too silly to put dibble. But you know what? We're gonna do it. I'm doing it partly because I was like, oh no, that's too silly, and then I'm like, you know what? You embrace the silliness, and it gets more silly because I think. Well, I'm using Dibble because it's silly, because it's silly, because you can, or at least when I write that, I imagine Raven saying it with a very serious voice. I do think it might be a better stream experience to say everything as I type it, but I type so much slower than I speak that I think it would be annoying. I was thinking about that yesterday. Um, Dibbling draws upon the. Megan, thanks for the sub. I actually don't know if that's how your name is pronounced. I read it a lot in Discord, but that's how it is in my head. It's like making without the G. Dino scene. Yeah, more variable, subtler. I mean, it ends up getting used for a lot of the same stuff because that's the kind of stuff you need. Like you need to make a ward against arrows. But one of the differences is that like Dibbling could make a ward against arrows, which is not a thing that you could do with warding. Like you could make a ward that affects arrows. You could make a ward that affects wood alone. You could make a ward that affects velocity. There'd be different ways to build. No erasure effect. It's more classically wizardly than that. Very briefly, and I'm not doing it today, but the second magic that Raven has is groove casting. Dibbling was noted not to have the meta magic effects. This fits with that, right? I'm not contradicting myself somewhere. Anyway, the second magic that Raven has is groove casting, where you kind of like mentally build up these magical grooves that compose your spells. The idea for that is that these two things can be worked together. You draw energy from the earth and you send it through a groove rather than using your, I don't know, mana pool or whatever. Yeah, just physical. I mean, I'm not sure mental. I'm going to leave that vague, but mental barriers are much a much more fraught thing. And I don't think would be good for the character of Raven specifically. Okay, yeah. Groove casting is not magic about the power of disco, no. I think groove casting is actually explained in the text, but that exclusion is for later. But the idea is that you draw up this enormous amount of earth energy, and then you funnel it into a groove rather than making a ward. Which is like one of the only productive things that you can do between them. The actual mechanics. So there's probably still currently a discussion on the Discord of hard and soft magic. Dibbling is much softer magic than warding, which is a harder magic. Like in theory, warding is entirely logical and constrained, whereas dibbling is more conceptual. There's like there are other differences between them, but that's the big one. Is one is more hard and one is more soft. It's not targeted destruction. I mean, the actual mechanics of how it works. I don't know. I could spend like half an hour on because it is interesting, but like if you're under a dibble against disease, like what actually internally physically happens to you, like it has to be happening on a mechanical level. This is the problem with soft magic systems, is that there has to be like actual foundational physical stuff that's happening. But we're just going to leave it soft magic. And soft magic, you don't explain that kind of stuff. It's only relatively soft, but it is a but yeah, we're gonna leave it soft, because that's its purpose here. A process called like bicameral is two houses. All right. Just find a synonym for field. Noun. Here, we just do Bifeld. What else can you channel energy into? I'm gonna say groove casting is the only one. Yeah, I'll say groove casting is the only one. Like, it's difficult because there are so many magic systems, but if I run through them in my head, I don't see one that properly fits for channeling. Oh yeah, rune magic. Yeah, you can do it for rune magic. Um, no, you wouldn't be able to use the earth energy with gem magic. Alright, this entry is, I'm gonna say, done. It is. Ooh, it's looking a little long now that we look at it. That is fine. No one's gonna penalize me for just a long entry, or at all, really. I was gonna do blue fields today, huh? Okay, demiplanes. What do we know about them from the text? More earthquakes before the exclusion of earth energy? No. Earthquakes are like enormously powerful. Like in terms of like amount of joules. They're also how earthquakes work in on Arb is left undefined. Like they're not from tectonic plate activity. And also the world is only. Well, okay, so there's one thing that we do know about demiplanes, which is that Juniper does not know the exact cause of the exclusion. It is mentioned in a chapter where they meet Everett, what's his face? And he laments that there's no demiplane anymore, and Juniper has some speculation. Sorry, some speculation on, like, yeah, my handy dandy full text search. This is one. Here's Juniper's guess. Everett Wolf, yes. Here's Juniper's guesses about why it would be excluded, which means Juniper doesn't know, which means that it's not in one of the texts. It will be in this document, though. And here's a mention of an old growth demiplane, which I like. I like that this is like, I like the implication here. Okay, so this is an Utherian exclusion, which I think works well. That is good to know. Thank you for pointing that out. That definitely should not be hyphenated there and nowhere else in the text. Okay. So there's an Utherian exclusion, and it needs to be after he slaughtered those dragons. Let's find our 3 timelines. Okay, I don't think that there is. I'll put this at like 26. And yes, this does raise some questions about who exactly is writing this document, that they have this information. I think that if it is... I'm not going to worry about it too much right now, but we're going to say that this is other because it doesn't have like a specific location. Did extant Earth energy just make more of itself? I like the idea that it's like taking drops of water out of the ocean. Like yeah, eventually you'd run into some problems if it's not going back, but like it was never done on enough scale that you'd need to worry about the ocean dropping, or the ocean like lowering an inch. I like demiplanes a lot. It's one of my favorite things. This is at least partly inspired by a D&D campaign that I ran where demiplanes were like, there were like thousands of them all over. I'm gonna just look at the D&D demiplane real quick, just to refresh myself on what they specifically say about it. Okay, is a small plane with its own unique properties. Created by powerful forces, whether wizards and other spellcasters can create them. Demiplane is like a, I think, 9th level spell. Page does not exist. Okay. Yeah, little baby universes. These demiplanes had their conditions set at creation. How similar are they to the Tutpad version? I'm not going to say because they haven't shown up in Tutpad yet, and possibly won't. Tutpad is approaching the 600,000 word mark, which is where I said I was probably going to end it. So I don't think we'll get to demiplanes or warriors or some other stuff that I kind of thought maybe I would do at the start, which means their background information. But my agent talked to me and he was like, hey, it would be better if we could have this be at like 2 books that are like 400,000 each, which would mean Tupad would go an extra 200,000, which would mean that like we are approaching the midway break of the second book instead. So I don't know. I mean it kind of it's partly a matter of what's easier to sell to publishers and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm just checking Discord real quick. Okay. Nothing that I need to address. And planes. Okay, we do call it the prime material plane. And I don't think demiplanes are on here. No, they're not. Which is fine, because they're, you know, because they're excluded. Okay, now I gotta check whether prime material is capitalized. It is not. And yes, I know searching for 3 timelines every time is completely jank. I will fix that for next stream. So I thought there was a list of essential functions within the Empire, but I might be mistaken. Okay, actually I don't think there is. Polities, it would be in here. Oh, here, special threats. I did. I was a good world builder, and I decided who was in charge of exclusions. I will take questions after I type some of this out, because it will probably end up answering those questions. No, it's not. It's fine. It's just I will, like, if I'm gonna end up answering the questions anyway. Okay. So demiplanes are very early. Um, yeah, that's my first spammer. How do you delete a message on Twitch? Well, whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. You would think that you would just, like, in the Twitch studio, right-click and ban it. I'm not going to worry about it. I would suggest not going to that link, though. All right. Demi-planes were used as highly defensible retreats. Okay. The steep costs of inducing the creation of a demiplane. Right, I've been having a feeling lately that most Magic systems, when you get down to it, are soft at a certain resolution. So, like this line here, steep costs of inducing the creation of a demiplane. Like, how do you induce the creation of a demiplane? Like my way of thinking, I don't know. There's an image in my head of people setting up equipment, a guided process, hundreds of people, like special machining and artisan craft and things like that. But that like doesn't make it terribly less soft. At a certain point, it's going to be. It's just going to be a soft magic. That there's an expensive process of making a demiplane. I want to point that out here because it's the kind of thing that I think I can rabbit hole on a lot, where I just am making more and more things like slightly more hard for no reason. Okay, I did manage to delete that message, so congrats to me. So long as the process is detailed enough, the actual physical reality. Well, I think that I think it doesn't bother me unless it seems like it should be important. So like the actual important part here is not inducing, like, it's the steep costs part, which answers a world building question of why aren't there demiplanes all over the place, which is a question that does need answering, given their otherwise apparent utility. In purely, this sentence is possibly too long. In purely economic terms, demiplanes as overall magical understanding progressed leading up to the First Empire. There's something which I think is interesting, which is the idea that advancements in one field bleed into another field because people develop different ways of like thinking of you start seeing like a scientist, and that I don't think it. I'm trying to reformulate the sentence, but I don't think it's necessary here, and it's actually a little awkward here because this is, in theory, an entry about this specific thing, rather than the overall contours of magical and scientific advancement. As overall magical understanding progressed, we don't need this leading up to the First Empire. Demiplanes. Well, okay, so in D&D, demiplanes don't loop at the edges. That it's just they sort of end. This raises a lot of questions in terms of like what the edge of a demiplane is like. I think for this particular case, it will be unanswered. Like if I were making a demiplane magic from scratch, it would be variable depending on what you wanted. Well, it can be left unanswered in here. Yeah, you can have a black impenetrable wall. That's how I've done it in the past because demiplanes are very, very common in my D&D campaigns because I enjoy them, because you get to go to this like interesting new place that might have its own rules, and they're like places of the rich and powerful, and they're a really good thing to give away to a D&D party. Say teams of hundreds. I want the idea to be that this is like a space program level thing that you could potentially do if you're like a major player. um, just going to put it to do a big. I do think that Empiricist, that's a good point, that star magic is a thing that demiplanes interact with. Look, okay, yes, you. So there are a couple of problems with the demiplane. The sun is a big one. Um, because obviously in the real world, the sun is however far away from us, eight light minutes or something like that. Um, and you like if you can either have dark demiplanes that have no natural light of their own. You could have a fake sun. You can have a fake sun of some kind. You can have like a micro sun that serves the same function but is a lot closer. I guess there's. I was going to say there's nothing stopping you from just having a sun that is, in fact, 8 light minutes away and just circles this plane, but that would be a little silly. And you can have ambient lighting. Like the lighting just seems to come from nowhere. Um, all these are like demi-plane problems. I think in the interests of like what I'm going to say for is true for these is that you know what, this is a good place for Juniper's note. I don't want these to be on everyone, but I think this is to be on every entry. But we'll put it to do. Gravity is another concern that you have for demiplanes because it's like, yeah, maybe there's just some downward force. Maybe like obviously you don't have enough matter inside what we would traditionally call a demiplane to create anything like gravity, or you could have a demiplane without gravity, or you could have a demiplane where instead of a straight downward force, you have force that goes out to like the edges of a sphere if you're doing the invisible wall thing. But then like what do you do about the sun? The answer for Word the Candle demiplanes is that any of that is possible, and one of the big struggles that you do with demiplane is trying to get the conditions correct so that it doesn't just kill you when you go inside, and so that it has some actual use to you. And that's like the thing that makes demiplanes hard, is that you need to like figure out all your constants and how to make up for all the things that are not how to fake all the things that are not true. Um, Okay, I need to confirm that Uther had star magic. He master of 8 magics, is always said, and it's one of those things I have in a list somewhere. Oops. Okay, he did. That's good enough for me. Many stranded people. And I need to change this opening thing then. Okay, and hour 07. Oh no, because I was gonna say this one was taking me a while. No, not really. Because I finished up dibbling. That's why. And if this one goes sufficiently long, maybe we'll save Bluefields for tomorrow. We'll see how I'm feeling on the writing front when this is done. Feature is going to be pretty short though, and then Juniper's note might be a little bit long because it's kind of stuff that I like. Oh, I did not see that question. Can they cut you off from magics? Yes. Well, okay, so there's a distinct magical spectra. Like the way I always pictured it was that it was like a 2-axis spectra. and then this is like the thing that overlays all like concrete magic stuff. And then each individual blocks are given over to various magics, and then there's like a giant block that's for entads that's divvied up between them. So like, could you make a demiplane that specifically prohibits some part of the spectra? I guess I need to think about that more because it has implications for various different types of magic. Um, so undefined for now. Just doing some math. Roger Bacon Time, thanks for the subscription. Come on, just tell me the surface area. Surface area. 50 million times the surface area of Earth. Okay. We'll see if Wolfram Alpha can handle that. I just want to see how big this is. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Okay, break it down then. $10 quadrillion square miles. Circle. Why radius r? Why are you doing this to me? Surface area is the wrong. Okay. Right, because a circle technically doesn't have a surface area. It has a... Oh my god, okay. Anyway, the premise here is... Okay, well, I'm just not going to deal with this. This is annoying me. Everick Kiyomi? Thank you for the sub. Oh my god, I have like... I have like 4 subs. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah, I was really surprised that Twitch's affiliate status thing was so low, because this is my 8th stream. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is like my 8th stream, and it's like 10 viewers per stream, which is about what I expect. That's actually double what I expected. I thought I'd get about 5. So thanks for all the support. Radius of 32 million miles. Okay. I don't normally Wolfram Alpha is pretty good about taking whatever you put in. And then I need to do more math. I don't need to do more math, but 350. We'll go 32. How does this compare with Earth? This demiplane would be like 50 million times larger than Earth, which would mean that it would be 5 million times larger than ARB. And we don't do metric. We don't do metric. I do metric, but in Worth the Candle, I tried to avoid it. In Glenwarden, I thought it would be fun to mix metric for scientific things and imperial for non-scientific things, which is kind of how it is in the United States, with the idea that these different systems have different connotations, and there was like a reform thing. But no, I tried to keep Worth the Candle entirely in Imperial, because the mixed Imperial and metric was very annoying for some people, and I got a lot of comments on it. It was one of those things I thought was interesting, and then bothered a bunch of people. 10 quadrillion square miles divided by surface. Okay, 50 million. Almost exactly. Which makes sense, because that's the number I was working with. Okay, reasons for not colonizing it. The way it works on Arb is that colonization is not really a thing. Like, world population on Arb is declining. The primary limit is labor. It is not land area. And so having available land area, I mean, there's lots of land area available. Yeah, so the main reason not to colonize it is because no one, like, does that. Um, and then I think everything else goes in features. And yeah, I definitely am gonna stop after I'm done with this, and then yeah, due to magic, there's no lack of resources. Also, it'll be explained in features, but DP easy. The double penetration exclusion zone. Okay. Now the DP easy. Here we'll go. Oh, and I forgot to check Bacon Time's wonderful notes, because I do try to make sure that I'm not contradicting it. Yeah, okay, great. Because it also helps to have some constraints sometimes. Like if I know that something is a major exclusion, then I'll write it different than if I know it's a minor exclusion. And that's a decision I don't need to make on my own. Singular oversized plane, and it's Um, sorry, I'm just looking for. This is part of writing that I particularly like, is looking up, because like I don't know how much soil there is before you hit bedrock um, in different places, and so I get to look that up and learn about it. Sometimes over 1,000 meters deep. That seems like a lot. Um, Here, that's what I want. Minimum soil depth. We'll say 3 meters. I want it flat like a pancake. 5 stories would be 50 feet. You know, I'm looking at the trees outside. You know what? Maybe that's fine. It's uh, an ecosystem exists within the demiplane, but I still got to worry about water. And not worry about it, but like in theory, a flat demiplane has no drainage, which is a problem for crops and stuff like that. Or not crops, but like for any ecosystem. Oh. Shoot. Implied growth rate of 2.5 yards per second. Yes. Because if it was that if it was that size in 374 FE, well, there's been 150 years for the supposed modern day of Worth Candle, so I just need to make that correction. Okay. Imply that might have had. Okay, I think that's fine. Star mages can access previously created demiplanes. That's what we're going with. The DPEZ was in theory created by the First Empire. So Exclusion was in 26 FE, and then a group of explorers discovered a First Empire research facility which contained the portal to this specific large demiplane. The further implication that you can read in is that the First Empire was responsible for this, and possibly Uther himself, for reasons unknown, was responsible for this. But because this is Uther era, right? 26 FE would have been midway through Uther's adventures, possibly that he did this intentionally or accidentally. So that's kind of the stuff that I would like to be read into this. Alright, I gotta check that. 2 L's. Womp womp. Oh, and you know what? Google had my back this time. Okay. Yeah, the idea that demiplanes have been isolated for like 500 years and they're just been trucking along on their own. I enjoy that too. It's the kind of thing that I think is ripe for like a short story of some kind. Like an intrepid star mage discovers um, gets like some kind of extraplanar reading uh, to discover a demiplane, or that a demiplane independently discovers star magic. Although star magic would be very, very difficult from demiplane because they don't have any stars. I mean, in theory, they don't have any stars, and you use the stars for mapping out your lines. And so, I'm not sure that a demiplane could actually use star magic, but okay. This is another long one. I forgot to do. Okay, you know what? We're gonna just real quick do a word count of just this section. 1,500 words over hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. That's a fine rate. 1,000 words an hour is like, I will always be happy with that. I'll actually be happy with 500 words an hour. But so we are at 13,000. We are in theory possibly as much as 1/4 of the way through. I don't think we're actually that far, but this is done. So blue fields is going to be next time. I need to take a break from writing. Could they create new demiplanes in the exclusion zone? No. It is too small. It is an exclusion zone that is technically like 1 meter across. Nuclear weapons is next time. I think I'm in the mood, or I will be in the mood on Friday for Bodler. And I... Okay, I'm going to be done with the stream for today. I'm not feeling fried. I am going to... okay, blue fields and Boulder is what I said, so I should probably get the form. I will try to do... I'll try to do 2 next time. This time I was finishing up that other one. That is the stream. Well, I gotta clear my things. Okay. Could they use Star Magic or Nanted to expand that 1 meter? No. Exclusion zones... The principle for exclusion zones is that it can't be expanded in that way. Alright, so next time, I'm trying to do 2. I don't think Bluefield is going to be a long one. And Boldler might be. This just happened to be exceptionally long. This entry is more than 1,000. No, not Demiplanar is more than 1,000 words. It's like it's like writing. It's like writing a third of a chapter. Create more space. I guess in principle. It's one of those things I need to think about and think about whether there's bad implications, but I guess in principle you could do that. But I'm done for today. Thank you everyone for the Prime subscriptions, those sweet Bezos bucks. I will be back probably 11 o'clock tomorrow, maybe even earlier. We'll see. And there's a good possibility that either tonight or tomorrow night I will do a stream of some kind of game. But we'll see. All right. See you next time.